Hello guys, good morning. Today is Monday and today we're going to do English skills and language. We're going to have English skills first from page 32 and then this page here, page 33, we're not going to do it because this is supposed to be teamwork, okay? And it has to do with the internet and everything like that. So in this case, this page we're not going to do it, okay? Then we continue to page 34. So we're going to do only 32 and 34, okay? So let's start. It says, enrich going deeper. Many people around the world have used creation myths to explain why their culture is superior to others. How would the Inca have used this myth to show their greatness? In the chart below, compare how this story makes Inca culture look as compared to the other cultures of other countries that might have existed at that time. So we're going to compare the Inca culture, which we read about. Remember the Children of the Sun? There in that reading we have like an explanation of how the Inca culture worked, and then we're going to compare it to the other cultures, okay? So I am going to write just an example so you can have an idea of what I'm talking about. So for example, they believed that they were descended from the sun, right? Well, actually from the sun god, el dios del sol. So they thought that. So if we're talking about other cultures, like not in a specific one, but other cultures, what can we say? Maybe that they didn't have a sun god, if we can say it like that. We can say they didn't have a god. Let's put it like that. They didn't have a god. Okay, and you can write 2 or 3 if you want. In Inca culture you can write like 3, and other cultures you can write 2 if you prefer. Okay, then we have a part here where it says Viracocha's first attempt to make human was not very successful. Why do you think he was unsuccessful? Unsuccessful, that means that he didn't do it correctly, like he didn't finish it correctly, he didn't do it at all. So his first attempt to make humans was not very useful because remember that he created brainless beings, that they didn't have a brain, they were like rocks, and when they were in the water they drowned. So that was not very successful. So why do you think that happened? Maybe, this is my opinion, okay? It's because maybe he couldn't work with other people. Like he didn't know how to work with other people. So he was trying to make beings, como seres, but not human beings, right? So maybe that was the reason, I don't know. You decide, you write it. Then the bottom part, it says Manco Capac used a magic staff to help him choose where to build the Inca's capital city. If you were given the responsibility, where would you choose to build a city? Write at least 3 reasons why you would choose that place below. So I am going to write my opinion, you have to write yours. So I would say that I would choose the forest. Okay, like I was saying, now you need to write the reasons why you chose that place. Okay, so my first reason is that because you can find fruits and vegetables. Let's write and vegetables. Okay, so what's the next reason for me? Because the weather is nice. Okay, then the reason number 3, I would say because I can plant anything. Okay, so I think those are the reasons why I chose the forest. Okay, so that's how you're going to do it. Then we're going to page 34. Okay, so it says, do your best, write about it. Imagine you were Manco Capac. You want to record the process of finding the site for the city of Cusco, and then the process of building it. Write 4 entries of Manco's journal below. Include the thoughts and feelings you experience while you're on your journey. So here, you're going to imagine that you are Manco Capac and that you're going to find a perfect place to build the city. So you're going to explain what happened on day 1, day 2, day 3, and day 4. Okay, so what it says here is that you need to explain your thoughts, how you were feeling in that time, how was your experience, what did you do, how did you do it. Okay, so all of those days you have to write them. Obviously day 4, it's supposed to be when you're finished with the city. Okay, so on day 1 you can say, I don't know, today is my first day that I am going to walk to find the perfect place to build a city. Day 2, today I was checking a mountain, but I realized that it was not a good place, so I continue walking and trying to find the perfect place. Day 3, I found the perfect place. This is I don't know, a enormous field or an enormous site. It is beautiful, it is high, I don't know, things like that. Day 4, today we finished building our city. It's so nice, everyone is so happy, la 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 la. Okay, so that's how you're going to do it. So that's it for English skills. Now let's go to language. Hello guys, now let's continue with language. We're going to see a new subject that it's called relative clauses. Okay, it's not so difficult, but you need to pay attention. Okay, so it says, relative clauses are used to give additional information. I am going to underline this so you can get clear the idea. Additional information about someone or something. Relative clauses are formed by relative pronouns like who, whose, or that. They can also begin with relative adverbs like when and where. Relative clauses work like adjectives describing a person, place, an animal, or thing. Okay, so before we begin, I need to make clear these 5 words. Okay, so what is who? Who is quién? Okay, whose, quiénes, that, eso o qué, when, dónde, when, cuándo, and where, dónde. Okay, so we have 2 examples here, which I am going to translate for you in Spanish so you can get the idea of how we are using the relative clauses. Okay, so the examples, it says, my mom is the one who loves listening to music. I repeat, my mom is the one who loves listening to music. And in Spanish it would be something like, mi mamá es quien le encanta o ama escuchar música. O mi mamá es la que le encanta escuchar música. Okay? Then we have the next one. That's the car that is painted red and gold. That's the car that is painted red and gold. Ese es el coche que está pintado de rojo y dorado. Ese es el coche que está pintado de rojo y dorado. Okay? So now let's continue. Read the sentences, underline the relative clauses, which we know by now because we have them here, are who, whose, that, where, and when. Okay? So we have the first one. Machu Picchu is an old Inca city that is built on top of a mountain. So you are going to underline the relative clauses, okay? So if I see who, whose, that, where, or when, I am going to start underlining where I found it, okay? So in this case, it says Machu Picchu is an old Inca city that is built on top of a mountain. So I already found that, and I am going to underline the rest of the sentence, okay? So I start with the relative clause, and then I continue with the sentence. So that's what you're going to do from 1 to 6, okay? You need to find who, whose, that, where, or when, and then you have to underline the sentence. Then at the bottom part, it says, match the relative clause to the sentence that it best describes. So we have 6 sentences and other 6 sentences that you need to match. And number 1, it says, Peru is a country. Number 2, the Inca were people. Number 3, the conquistadors were an army. Number 4, the Amazon is a place. Number 5, July 28 is. Number 6, the Andean condor is a bird. Then we have the other part of the sentences where you have to match them. Whose leader was Francisco Pizarro, where you can see many colorful birds, that the Inca considered sacred, that has a lot of Inca history, who believed in a sun god, when Peru celebrates its independence. So if you pay attention and if you see here, all of these sentences start with a relative clause. Whose, where, that, who, and when. Can you see? So I am going to make the first one so you can have an idea. So number 1, it says Peru is a country, and I have to line it or to match it with the rest of the sentence. So Peru is a country, and I think it's Peru is a country that has a lot of Inca history. Perú es un país que tiene mucha historia Inca. Okay? So that I use it like que in Spanish. Perú es un país que tiene mucha historia Inca. Okay? So you're going to continue with the other 5. Now let's go to page 82. And we continue with the relative clauses. We can use relative clauses to combine sentences without repeating information. Take out the period and the repeated subject, and then use a relative pronoun or adverb like who, whose, that, when, or where. So we have here the example. My street has a unique house, period. The house was built in the 1800s. Okay? So now we're going to make the sentence into a relative clause. Okay? My street has a unique house, and if you see here, we disappear or we erased the period. We didn't use it anymore because we're going to continue with relative clause. Okay? My street has a unique house that was built in the 1800s. Okay? So what are you going to do? You're going to take out the period, or you're going to erase the period, and instead of the period and the subject that is repeated here, so we have here the period, oopsie, here the period, and also we have again the subject, we have it again. So what you're going to do, you're going to, let me choose another color, you're going to erase the subject because you don't need to repeat it. You're going to erase the period, and that part that is erased, you need to complete it with a relative clause, that it can be who, whose, that, when, and where. Okay, if we're talking about a street, so if we're talking about a street, we're going to use for now that. Okay, so it's saying my street has a unique house that was built in the 1800s. Okay, so like if I want to say in Spanish, I would say mi calle tiene una casa única que fue construida en 1800. Okay, so let's go to the bottom part. What's happening? Oh, here. Now it says, combine the two sentences below into one sentence using a relative clause. Use the appropriate relative pronoun or adverb to connect them. Okay, so you need to be careful. You need to choose the perfect relative clause or the perfect relative pronoun or adverb. Okay, so the example, it says, the librarian showed me a book, period. The book was about the birds of Peru. So if we change it, it would say, the librarian showed me a book that was about the birds of Peru. So we have it here, that was about, okay, and here we have a book, period, the book was. So we don't want to repeat it, right? We want to make like clear, how can I say, like clear sentences that we don't have to repeat the subject and everything. So if you can see here, I erased the period, I erased the subject, which I repeated twice, and instead of that, I am going to write the perfect relative pronoun or adverb, that in this case I am going to use that. So it's the same. The librarian showed me a book that was about the birds of Peru. The librarian showed me a book that was about the birds of Peru. Can you see? So easy, right? So number one, it says, the fire station is near my house, period. The fire station is 1 kilometer from the mall. Okay? So, how am I going to do it? I am going to erase the point, the period, and I am going to erase the subject, okay? Because I already have it here. I have the fire station. I don't need it another time. So I am going to erase it, the fire station. Oopsie, the fire station. Okay? So what can I use in that case? Well, if I am talking about a fire station, I think that I can use that. So I am going to write it again. The fire station is near my house that, can you see? And I'm going to use another color so you can see it. See, what did I do? Okay, there you go. The fire station is near my house. Let's say with black. Yes, let's say with black. Let's do it with black. That is 1 kilometer from the mall. Can you see? So easy, right? You just need to use the correct relative pronoun or adverb, who, whose, that, when, or where. Okay, then you have number 2. The ruins were like a castle. I had seen the castle on television before. Number 3. Europe has many countries, period. In those countries, English is widely spoken. Number 4. The Spanish ruled many colonies. At that time, it had the most powerful navy. Number 5. Peru is a unique country, period. Peru's history is very interesting. Okay, so that's it, guys. That's it for today. Any question that you have, remember that you can ask me by Messenger Kids. Okay, don't forget. So I will see you tomorrow. Bye bye.